This is Kanzenshuu, the podcast, episode 314 for the week of November 18th, 2012. What up, folks? Welcome to a short episode of Kanzenshuu,
the podcast,
an extension of the all-encompassing Dragon Ball fan site.
Kanzenshuu.
That's right, sir. We cover anything and everything Dragon Ball in hopes of enlightening and a little bit of entertaining here on, what is this, like a Wednesday, Tuesday evening? I don't even know what day it is.
It's Tuesday, yeah.
Right now. My name is Mike VegettoEX. I am the ringleader of this podcastular circus. Joining me for the first time in a co-host role, but not first time speaking up on the show, long time friend of the website and the podcast, and now you're like a dude that actually does stuff, and I think people might actually know you more than they know me. Kirbopher, what up, dude?
Oh, come on! Don't demean yourself like that. You and your pals have kept me sane while animating for the past, God, what, like 5 years has this thing been going on for now?
Well, let's talk about that. Yes, the podcast here, when it debuted, obviously, under Kanzenshuu. Right now, you and I are recording on November 20th. Julian and I recorded our first episode for release on November 19th, 2005.
My God. Yeah, and I remember, and I even went back and, like, once in a while I'll go back and listen to old episodes, like the first one, and you guys sound entirely different now, and also like the one with Scott Melzer I listen to a lot.
We're older, man.
It's crazy though, but like it really has, like, I give no exaggeration, like while I'm animating, like I always listen to the podcast, and it's been a fun ride, and I'm happy to be in a co-host role for the first time and not speaking up with stupid tidbits that nobody cares about during the Anime Next episode from like 2006.
It's all right. So like I said, you've been long time good friend of the site and the podcast, yes, and all that stuff. Who are you, though?
Yeah, I've been doing animation on like Newgrounds and YouTube and a whole bunch of stuff like that for many years, since about around the time when the podcast came out. And stuff I'm known for now, I do a show called Tome, Terrain of Magical Expertise, which everybody listening should watch because there's an episode that just came out with a character named Zetto who has like key energy attacks and like spiky hair, and it's totally relevant. Yeah, and other stuff I've known for Parody Rangers, the Nintendo collabs. I work with Little Karibo on Yu-Gi-Oh! Bridge sometimes. I do some voiceover. I was on Pokemon once. So cool. You know, a lot of stuff.
I play Pokemon.
You played Heart Gold and Soul Silver. That was the game that my character was from.
Who were you?
This works. I was the stand-in for the male trainer in the very end of the Diamond and Pearl saga of the show. They had the Gold and Silver remake tie-in, like 5-episode stuff, and I had a character with a Totodile, and he joined with Astro Isle. It was really cool. But this isn't the Pokemon cast. This is the Dragon Ball.
No, but I could probably talk about that for longer than Dragon Ball right now.
I'm sure both of us probably could.
All right, so we got Dragon Ball stuff. You are here, last-minute replacement for all the other folks, mainly because you're available, but you responded.
Yes. And I have wanted to be on the podcast for like years.
I know.
The opportunity hasn't come up, and now here it is.
I'm glad to have you because you're a fun dude. You have things to talk about with me. You and I, we're going to catch up on news from this last week, which grew by 3 stories today alone. I don't understand how it is that we are in the end of 2012 and Dragon Ball continues to do this to us.
I know exactly how, man. Like, this is we're entering a new age of Dragon Ball shit here. I have a distinct feeling.
I know. So we're going to do that, and then I'm going to talk into a vacuum about video games, and you're just going to nod and be a pretty face.
Okay.
So that's the plan right now. I'm down. Are you down?
I am down.
All right, so, like, first news here, we already knew about it because of a leak poster sort of thing that still has not been confirmed as is. But the part that has been confirmed is the title for next year's Dragon Ball Z movie, debuting in Japanese theaters March 30th. Dragon Ball Z Battle of Gods. This page here, we did confirm, ended up being from Ultra Jump. Remember, there are a gazillion Jump magazines over in Japan. There's, of course, Weekly Shonen Jump, but nowadays there's also Psycho Jump and this Ultra Jump, and there's, of course, V Jump, which we'll get to shortly. The page really here just confirming everything that we already sort of knew. The title, Battle of Gods, the Japanese title there, Kami to Kami, God and God. So the titles don't really line up, but that's kind of standard weird. I think Full Metal Alchemist has similar things where its title is different from its English title. That's just a Japanese thing. And then we had further confirmation on this collaboration ticket where you've got Toriyama, you got Oda, they drew a little picture, and that's going to be your special 2-in-1 ticket. So, Kirb, or Chris, or whatever. I'm just going to call you whatever I feel like.
Either is fine. I'm fine with either.
Thoughts on the title of the movie, because that's really all we have to go on. We do not have further visual confirmation on this Cabot character, I'm going to call it.
Yeah, whatever he is. Yeah. Well, first of all, I do think that it's kind of interesting that because I didn't even think about the One Piece Z movie, but I think that's actually kind of clever that they're having, even though they're not going to be screening at the same time, I think it's clever that they're tying them together in this sort of promotional way. In terms of the actual title, I was going to say at first I thought maybe the English title, the Battle of Gods thing, might be because with Fox being involved and there's the stuff with Kai coming back and all that for overseas, it's making me think that maybe it having a separate English title is tied into that specifically. But then you made a good point about like Full Metal Alchemist and some of those other movies where they will have two titles made for the movie to start with.
Right.
I mean, maybe I don't know, because I was also gonna ask, and maybe Julian would know more about this. Kami Tokami is literally God and God.
Right.
Like would there be some connotation of that could technically be translated as the Battle of Gods, like two gods clashing or something like that, or does that not quite work?
We talked about it. There's like nothing there. It just literally is what it is. There's no further reading of it. It's super, super basic. So, well,
there is, I mean, from that not 100% confirmed to be real poster, there seems to be two god characters shown on it, the Cabot thing, and then that mysterious kind of Majin Buu with effeminate qualities thing in the background. Both seem like godly characters, so that could be what it's referring to.
Right.
But who knows otherwise.
So our good buddy K17 over there in Japan saw a tweet from Yusuke Watanabe, who is the scriptwriter of the movie. Remember that Akira Toriyama is heavily involved in this movie, even in that scriptwriting area, but he is not the formal script writer of the movie. We have Yusuke Watanabe, who is. So Watanabe just confirmed out there, hey, the movie title has been confirmed, great. So K17 responded to him, said, I'm looking forward to seeing the Makaioshin. Kind of like, that's not confirmed, but I'm kind of gauging you to see what your response is going to be on that. And the response back was obviously written in Japanese. Oops, thank you. So what kind of reading do you have on that? What does that mean? Like, oh my God, that like the fans are figuring it out that we're going to pull in this Makaioshin, this extra god hierarchy stuff that Toriyama introduced in the super exciting guides? Or is it just like, I'm just responding?
Yeah, it definitely could be just, as you guys have joked about, another one of those stereotypical neutral Japanese responses. That's more likely to be it. Yeah, I'm not sure, because I thought about the Makaioshin thing as well. I don't know. That seemed like it was something they were saving specifically for the online game.
Right.
I mean, it's possible that, these two new characters could be related to that. But then again, aren't the Makaioshin like they're blue skinned with white hair and like the red eyes and stuff like that? They have an established design in that game.
Well, and I'd have to go back and check out a lot of those translations. And of course, we're going from Korean to English, sometimes Korean to Japanese to English. So it gets a little twisty, but I don't know how much of that has been confirmed in Dragon Ball Online. Like, there are thoughts that Toa and Mira are involved with the Makaioshin and all that, but I'm not an authority on Dragon Ball Online to confirm one way or the other if that's actually been the story or just fans piecing things together, or maybe it will be revealed eventually. So maybe that's kind of up in the air right now.
It's possible, but yeah, I think the new characters are going to be their own separate thing. And the scriptwriter's response to K was probably just like a neutral, like, thank you, Colby, you like the movie, I'm not going to confirm or deny. It's like that typical, what is it, when they nod their head and go, like, I'm not agreeing with you necessarily, I'm just confirming that you did indeed just say that.
Yes. That could very well be what that is. So that's kind of all we have to go on right now with the movie. The only other news story involving the movie was that the official website updated with the exact same information. It's kind of thing where, yeah, Jump gets the exclusive reveal on it, but that day or the next day, the official website updates with the same stuff. So we at least get a ping of the logo and a higher quality version of the super collaboration ticket. But then we also get a list of participating cinemas that will be showing the 2 movies that you can use that ticket at. So I already got confirmation from Julian that he's off to buy his ticket and can go see the movie for us. So we'll have a first-hand account. I'm very excited about that.
Me too. I am also excited.
All right. So have you been keeping up with Budokai HD Collection at all?
So Dragon Ball Z Budokai HD Collection is all screwed up in many ways. But most notably, it's got a lot of censorship to its violence. Apparently, in some of the cutscenes and even some of the special attacks performed by certain characters, certain acts of violence and gore have been censored compared to the original PS2 release of the first and third games, which are the only ones that are on the collection. Examples include Raditz's stab of Piccolo's Makanko Sappo through the chest has been deteriorated down to literally just a black hole in the middle of his stomach.
Now, this is an interesting one because we posted this up and then all the European fans were like, hey, it was always like that in our version, which, and this is, we're going to talk about this in a couple minutes, but that to me says that there was a branched development process for the European version and then the American version of this game. But then the American version of the collection took some of the European censorship. That boggles my mind.
Yeah, and I guess the other example you provided was this thing about Broly slamming somebody into the ground, which is like, really, guys? I mean, the gore I can sort of understand because like you can see his ribs in the graphic, like his ribs being burnt off in that hole in Raditz's chest. But like, you know, Broly smashing somebody into the ground, like that's pretty typical DBZ stuff, all things considered.
Oh yeah, totally. I saw a lot of people being like, oh, it's rated T, but it has the teen rating changed over the last 10 years, so what can you show? Like, I don't know. Some of this stuff just strikes me as really ... question mark kind of stuff.
I mean, and for a quick buck, I feel like it's not even going to make that many bucks between like, because most people seem to be educated on this stuff with the music changed and, you know, this now, it's like, what reason are people gonna have, and especially with all these modern games now, it's like, what reason are people gonna have to want to go back and get these anyway, you know?
I don't know, these games, man, this is weird. So let's hold off on Budokai stuff and we'll talk about that in our little mini sorta topic that we have coming your way. Guys, it's like the week before Thanksgiving. This is what you get. It's either this or nothing.
Eat it, along with your turkey.
All right, so a couple last news stories here. We have Glenat over in France, my apparent homeland. Apparently, I'm like royalty in Quebec or something. We founded Quebec, my family. I'm just now learning this. This is crazy. So I'm like French-Canadian royalty. I'm very excited about this.
Oh, let me bow. Okay, here we go.
Thank you.
Getting on my knees.
Down on your knees, man.
Continue with Animanga.
So over there in France, they've been putting out a ton of great stuff. There is they call it the Perfect Edition. It's the Kanzenshuu release that they're getting. I believe it's a totally new translation. Great stuff. I'm very excited for them. Viz, we're all looking in your general direction right now. So they got that going on, but they've also been getting the Animanga, or the TV anime comics, which is, as Julian has always perfectly described, the redundantly redundant comic of the TV series, which is an adaptation of the comic. So you're 2 steps removed here. They're stopping that, at least temporarily. Their release schedule just kind of stops after the Cell game ends in this Animanga, and they're going to turn their attention over to the movie versions, the film anime comics. So that's kind of cool over there. I'm sorry that you're sort of getting an incomplete product, at least for the meantime, with the TV Animanga getting temporarily, maybe permanently suspended. There's really no word on it, but every 2 months there's going to be a film anime comic, and they are going to start with my favorite, of course, Dragon Ball Z Movie 1, starting with Garlic Jr. Like I said, every 2 months you're going to get another individual film anime comic that is alongside the Kanzenshuu, so at least the Kanzenshuu will keep going there. So France, that's cool. That's cool. Again, I say Fizz, what are you guys doing?
One of your international fans that you guys covet so much, I'm sure will send you a book version of movie 1 to add to your never-ending collection.
I'm very excited because I know it's going to happen.
Lord. Yeah, it's funny. Well, you say on the update here that it's finishing up the Cell arc.
Yes.
So that's finishing up the Cell games specifically, right?
I believe so, if I looked at the cover there.
Man, like...
Yeah.
It's so bizarre with this, like, okay, we're going to stop at Cell with, like, all of this material lately. Like, I don't even... No, Budokai 1, it stopped at Cell. All of this stuff lately, it's like, no boo.
Burst
whatever,
Limit as
cares.
well. I mean, Burst Limit was, what, like 2008? But yeah.
Yeah, by now.
Well, the
so
first
bizarre.
Budokai game, that was interesting because that was a major push internationally with the video games. And I do wonder how much of it had to do with, well, at that point, the American audience had not seen the entirety of the Majin Buu arc tied in with production time. So that kind of made sense. And then Burst Limit was sort of like a reboot for Dimps. But then, yeah, you just combine all that with Kai and then France over here conveniently ending around that point in the animanga. And like everyone on the show always says, well, this just drives everyone back to our intended endings guide and being like, guys, look, no, this was never please just stop.
Well, I mean, I guess it's cool that they'll get these movies and everything. I know that sometimes the movies are like the only thing that certain countries will get and they don't even get the show.
Yeah. And these books are really neat. I forget it. They kind of did them out of order, at least in the Japanese release. I think they may have started with like movie 4 or 5 and then they went back and filled things in. But a lot of these had supplemental material like character designs. And then the animanga of the TV specials had some cool stuff. We, of course, talk pretty often about Bardock and how many great things are associated with Bardock. The film anime comic version of the Bardock TV special, in the back of it, has one of those 3 side stories, the text presentation of Trunks telling his future story. So there's that kind of awesome stuff in these, and I'm very curious to see if Glenot over there will provide some of that supplemental material in their film anime comics.
Well, good for them, or they can just buy the actual movies.
Or you can just watch the movie.
there is that.
Why don't you take me over to the UK? This has been a crazy story, hasn't it?
Yes, it is, and in fact, I was throwing my 2 cents about this on the forum, but so Dragon Ball Kai has formally been announced, finally, for the UK. A news post on Toei's website reveals that DBZ Kai is going to be coming there under CSC Media. They just acquired the first 53 episodes, which I think is the full... I think up until the end of the Frieza fight, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I think 52 actually is the formal kind of like breakpoint between Frieza and then the artificial humans. So 53 is kind of weird, but I mean, it's right at that point. So that makes sense.
Yeah, I think it might be a couple episodes after 52, because if I'm not mistaken, the one of the box sets like is almost done with Frieza, and then the following one, which has all the Trunks stuff in it, has like the last 2 or episodes or so of the Frieza.
Yeah, it's like 52 or 54. It's around there. 53 is definitely not the right number, but it's clearly in the middle of that stuff.
But they've got everything from the beginning up until about when Frieza dies,
Frieza, yeah.
So they've got that. And they're going to be airing that next year. And there's no 100% confirmation yet on what dub this is going to be. Because
do you think you can even take us back to the beginning of this story?
Yeah, apparently, I forget exactly where it started, but there had been a few different actors on both sides of the spectrum talking about how there was going to be, and there is going to be, a alternate dub of Dragon Ball Z Kai recorded in Canada, with a lot of the Ocean Group actors. I can say 100% for certain after talking to certain people who I will not reveal the names of, that is a thing and it has been recorded.
Well, I mean, we know this. We don't even have to take it, not to diminish you, of course, but we've heard it from some of the actors themselves, where we had, who was the third Goku in that dub?
Oh, yes. Okay, you're right. That was what happened.
Was
yeah,
it
and actually,
Kirby?
It was Kirby Morrow.
Yes,
yeah,
yes.
Kirby Morrow, and he got in trouble for that.
Right, exactly.
Dear God.
And there were other actors that were tossing. I know Scott McNeil's like, I don't care about NDAs. I'm just talking about it. Whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
So, I mean, there's all those tidbits. We knew it was happening. It would be happening. Maybe it's complete. Maybe who knows? Clearly, there's some information out there that's been confirmed, at least in some circles. This alternate English dub was going to happen, is obviously still going to happen. Will this broadcast be that dub? That's kind of what we all figured was going on.
Right, because if I'm not mistaken, that other dub for the original Z, that aired in Canada and Europe.
Right, it was primarily for the European market, because that seemed to be like the AB group going around and trying to just do their own thing on the cheap. And I think Canada, was it Canada that they were getting fed up with Funimation not getting stuff ready on time or not good enough quality for them? So like, we're going to take the AB version, man, and we're going to show you. And there's just that kind of stuff going on. So depending on where you lived in the world, dubs flip-flopped back and forth, and maybe you didn't even see the same dub the next time a particular arc repeated.
Yeah, I know regarding that dub for if it is going to be airing on this, which I think it might. I have a distinct feeling. Yeah, I know for certain, for those of anybody that were listening that did follow the Ocean dub of the rest of the show past those first 2 seasons in Canada or anything, we are getting a new Goku, and we're getting a new Frieza.
Right.
Apparently some other characters have also, I don't know which one specifically, but there's another studio, maybe, I don't know if you know this one, Mike, called Blue Water.
Oh yeah, of course. That was like the sister studio. They did the original Dragon Ball and they did GT for the European market.
Yes, that's right. I believe they're in Edmonton, somebody else pointed out to me, and apparently some of the recording has been outsourced there.
So it's going to be like a mix of people.
Yeah, and I actually, that has happened before. Like, there's been a couple shows where
like Ocean proper plus Blue Water kind of mixed together.
Yeah, or the reverse. Like sometimes, like if they can't, sometimes with main characters, actually, like if we can't find somebody that's good enough for the main character from our pool, we'll go to Vancouver to get it. You know.
Okay.
Although I think in this case it's because it's probably cheaper to do it this way.
Yeah, they're doing on the cheap.
I would imagine maybe like some of the smaller characters, or like Walla, which is like the background voices and shadow like that. Maybe that's been outsourced to Blue Water to make it done a bit cheaper, but I don't know that 100% for sure.
So it could be a situation like, well, Scott McNeil's involved. He's probably Piccolo, which fantastic, right?
He's everybody he was before. I can say that for certain.
Okay, did he do Boo in that dub later on? Or?
Yes, he did. He did Fat Majin Buu. Brian Dobson did every other form of Boo in that version. Yeah. I can also say I don't want to have another incident with the Chris Ayres thing from last year with Frieza being revealed too early, but I'll say the person that's doing Goku in this new dub of Kai for Canada will probably confuse and a lot of people, and they're going to be like, wait, what, really? But trust me, the person that is doing it for that dub is the perfect man for the job.
There was a person that was saying they were playing that role, and I would love to just be like, I don't fucking care, I'll just say it on the show, but I don't even remember who the person's name is. I mean, you guys know me, I don't follow English dubs, so I don't know these
although it's not, unfortunately, it's not Ian Corlett. I'm sorry.
Playing Frieza?
Oh, no. No, I meant as Goku.
Okay.
Yeah, no, Lee Tokar did confirm that he's Frieza. That was publicly stated.
That's what I was talking about. Okay, that sounds familiar. Okay, I have no idea who would be Goku. So, all right, all this being said, it sounds like this alternate dub is definitely produced, if not fully complete at this point. And the question is this the one that's going to air over there? I think we're both saying, oh, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, we'll hope so, because then we can see some funny comparisons and hear some people we love and haven't heard in a long time as these characters come back, and maybe they'll get if hopefully they're handling it the way that Funimation handled it, we'll get to hear them doing a proper dub of the show, which could be really cool. So,
dude, it's 10 years all over again.
Actually, I realize if that is the way that they're doing it, then Mike, your wish about why can't you guys do it the way that you did those first 3 movies, your wish will be granted.
1990. 6.
Whenever.
Well, that would have been 1998. 1998, Mike is very excited.
Oh my goodness.
2012, Mike is like, I don't care about
I don't care anymore. Whatever.
Can we please move on to the new movie instead?
Yeah, really.
All right. So
video games.
Leaving Kai behind. Video games. Yay. Zenkai Battle Royale. This story is crazy. They're just pumping new characters into this game. We did get a tease last month in VJump that Zarbon was going to be coming. It was this silhouette thing, like, do you know who it'll be? Yeah, we kind of know who that character is. So this month's issue confirmed, yes, Zarbon will be in there, but Videl is also going to be a playable character in Zenkai Battle Royale. This is on top of the Super Saiyan Awakening update, which added Super Saiyan forms of like 5 characters. And this is on top of, let's see, Mr. Boo and Mr. Satan being added, on top of Yamcha and Broly being added, on top of the Super Saiyan Awakening update. I think there were character additions before then as well. I can't even remember those. So this game continues to receive updates. You have heard us say so many times, they're going to keep updating it, make it great. We'll take the home release when it's done. But now I'm starting to wonder, like, is this game ever going to be done?
Yeah, real talk. I agree with you guys entirely. I really want to play this game, like, more so than any Dragon Ball Z game in like the last 4 or 5 years.
And is it just because we can't have it? Is that why we want it? Or are you intrigued by the fighting as well?
No, I am seriously, like, from the descriptions of like, hey, this is what this character's specialty is. Like, like that's really cool, and I want to do that.
Yep. Every time they announce new characters, they go into the specifics on how they play. So I'll read you a couple things here. Julian obviously translated these for us. Videl has a fighting style that appears to be waiting for her opponent to attack, then using their own strength against them in a dodge or a counter and playing on their momentum. So that's great. That makes sense for that character, and that's a unique fighting style for that game. And then we have Zarbon. His specialty in game will involve charging at high speeds from afar. We knew he was going to be a quote-unquote super aggressive character from the tease. And then he's going to follow that stuff up with like a kick or something. But he could also just go into his power type form, his transformation. And then I guess when he's in that form, he uses grappling moves. That sounds familiar to me. I mean, that's what his fight with Vegeta was like. After he transformed, he did that kind of like bear hug thing and plowed him into the ground there. So I love these descriptions of all the fighting styles, just like you were saying, man.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, like, because I know you guys have gone on and on for good reason about like the Tenkaichi / Sparking games with, you know, it's like really 3 characters like with a bunch of different skins slapped on it. Like, just hearing about, oh, like, this is what this character does, and this is what this one does. Or even with Zarbon, like, Broly, his description was emphasis on a lot of throwing moves as well. But, like, you know, Zarbon has, like, an interesting and unique enough alteration of that. Like, that's really interesting, and I'm genuinely, like, excited to play it. And I really do hope it gets a home release and that we eventually get that down the line, because I think that would do super well over here. Even in arcades, like, or conventions or something, that could be huge.
Yeah, can you imagine that? We go to Otakon or AX one year, and they're like, bitches, we got Zenkai Battle Royale. I mean, people, we know about this stuff because we actively follow this shit. The majority of the Dragon Ball audience in this country has no idea that Zenkai Battle Royale exists.
True, although I think if people saw this, like...
Oh, they would go nuts.
Yeah, and especially if they made a big thing out of it specifically being an arcade game.
Yeah.
Like, we haven't had, like, a real and officially released Dragon Ball Z arcade game over here in ever. Like, sometimes we'll see some of the Japanese ones show up at cons and certain arcades, like, once in a while. But, like, if like, you know, Atari or whoever the hell has to, like, get a hold of this to bring it out over here, like, please do that. Hello, guys? Do that right now. Oh my God.
Just a couple, like, test locations, conventions. That sounds awesome. Let's do it. Let's do it,
Who
guys.
else would you want to see, by the way, like, in terms of if you could think of other characters?
Playable character. I feel like they've added in a lot of the standards, but good ones as well. I mean, we have Yamcha, that he plays uniquely as well. And of course, everyone's like, oh, Mike wants to play as a Pool and Frieza Soldier A. And yeah, that's interesting. But in terms of other characters, you know who I'd really like to see in this game? If they're going to go with these unique angles, I want to see Yajirobe in here, because he would play with hiding and his sword. That kind of stuff could be really unique to the game and make for a cool dynamic between the players.
I think so, yeah. Yajirobe could have some cool stuff. I would love to see Super Boo, especially based on the little description they gave about Zarbon, with like him kind of like temporarily going into his transform states. I think it could be really cool if Super Boo had the ability, like you have like the typical shirtless, noseless one, but then you could like, you know, take pieces of yourself off and absorb different characters, kind of going off of, I think, was it in Budokai 2 where he had the other different Super Boo forms?
Yeah.
Yeah,
so
like
a little bit of Kirby, a little bit of Boo, like throw his body across the screen and pull people into him.
Yeah, and then even Kid Boo, like Kid Boo as maybe one more, like a third Boo character, because that seems to be how they do it in the games, where they'll have Super Kid and Fat Boo as the three separate characters. Kid Boo just going like super balls to the walls, crazy, like the fastest character or something like that. I would love
like Sonic in Brawl, like the equivalent of that, where you just can't even control him. He's just crazy.
So like, and he's like a force of like destruction just wherever he tosses himself. Yeah, I love that.
I'm with you, man. I think there's some cool new stuff they could do with this game, but at the same time, we want to play it, so we're conflicted.
Give it, please, guys, somebody.
No. All right, I'm going to wrap you up here. The last bit of video game news. Zenkai Battle Royale, that came from the upcoming, well, it's out right now as of today in Japan, the January 2013 issue of V-Jump. Same issue of V-Jump, kind of first real details on Dragon Ball Heroes Ultimate Mission for the Nintendo 3DS in Japan. We have a release date now, February 28th. I'm looking through a windscreen, I'm like, is that an 8 or is it 6? I can't tell. It is 28th, 5,800 yen. This is a portable home port of Dragon Ball Heroes, which is that card-based arcade game that's kind of tearing up arcades over there in Japan. So we got information about it. We get that release date, just little things about the touchscreen, how it's going to be intuitive, and kind of all that generic marketing speak. Interesting stuff here that you probably want to know. It's going to have a new opening sequence, high quality, specially made for the game, so I'm excited about that. And if you follow Heroes, you know that there's all these updates with different cards and new characters and new villains. Right now, they're into Dragon Ball GT and a little bit of movie and extra stuff as well, and they're called the Galaxy Missions. The game is going to include all of the cards from the start of Dragon Ball Heroes when it began 2 years ago, all the way up through Galaxy Mission 4. That was the one that had Janemba Baby in it. So you can kind of look back and see who all will be in here. I think we have Galaxy Mission 5 that's either coming or is out right now, and they're already teasing Galaxy Mission 6. So I did see a couple people say, like, no, by the time this game comes out, it's going to be almost obsolete. And I know I'm totally stealing words from someone right there, and I apologize for it, but it was a perfect description of it. But then we have, like, all right, the 3DS, it's a modern system. It's totally capable of DLC. Are you familiar with what the DLC strategy has been from Namco Bandai on prior games, Chris?
Give me some other examples I may have.
They put out like pre-order different colored costumes for a couple of characters, and they're like, yeah, we're going to sell these later on. Then nothing ever pops up.
Oh, have they done that for Heroes?
For like Raging Blast on the consoles. Like that'll be the DLC. It'll check for DLC. Like, is there any DLC? No. Well, can I buy the DLC? No, there's nothing available.
Oh, wow. No, I didn't even know they did that for Raging Blast. Jeez.
So that makes me worry. Like, you guys have an opportunity here. Dragon Ball Heroes is doing well. Capitalize on it. But then I can also see them doing like Ultimate Mission EX the next year with all the extra stuff in it.
Well, is this the first time that they're doing, like, a home release of a Dragon Ball Heroes game? The Ultimate Tenkaichi thing with the Heroes mode, that doesn't really count.
Right, exactly. I mean, they pulled in some elements, basically beat the creative characters stuff there. But yeah, this is the first proper Heroes, anything other than the arcade game.
Yeah, I'm looking at, I know Dragon Ball Wiki is not exactly a site that you have
stop, close window, you're done.
Well, no, I'm looking at the list of playable characters just to see what they have there. Now, are the individual cards, are they all characters, or are they also, like, special attacks, too? Like, I'm not sure how it works.
Yeah.
I don't actually see a lot of characters as
yeah, there's everything with Heroes. You get boost stuff, but then special versions of characters. Obviously, I've never played it, so we need Julian to go over there and just kind of film children in a creepy kind of stalker way and watch them play the game.
Because I know Heroes, they have, like, beyond scraping from the bottom of the barrel characters with, like, you know, here's all of Lord Slug's henchmen or whatever.
Yeah, totally.
But I'm not seeing a whole lot of stuff about, you know, all of those kind of characters in this game from just the list of playable characters.
And I mean, a lot of it is you create your hero, your avatar character. Beat is kind of the named one that Namco Bandai uses, but there's a lot of that kind of stuff.
That is very cute, by the way. I didn't realize that was actually his name. I like that. I like Beat.
Yeah, it's cute, isn't it?
Yeah.
So those are the details right now. When you order the game, it's going to come with stuff. It's going to come with a hero avatar card, a trial hero license. If you play the game, if you're in Japan, you probably know what that stuff is. I don't. I'm not there. And I guess you're also going to get a sneak peek at some of the upcoming things like Future Gohan, Future Trunks. So that's a thing, and I'm going to order it and not be able to play it because the 3DS is region locked. So I'm just going to put it on my shelf.
Joyous. Video games. Whee!
Yay. Oh, speaking of video games, let's talk about some shitty video games. All right, dude, so Dragon Ball Z for Kinect. My full review is up on the website. Let me ask you, do you have any questions for me that I could sum this game up with?
Me?
Yes.
Should you ever buy this for any reason whatsoever?
No, not really. I mean, we knew what this was going to be leading up to release. It is a reskin of a reskin. And by that, I mean Dragon Ball Z for Kinect is just Ultimate Tenkaichi, just thrown into a first-person perspective. It is the exact same graphics, the same engine, not even all the characters, because it just kind of is what it is. You play through the story mode of Z, Raditz to Boo. That's it. That's it.
Hooray.
That's the game.
Hooray.
It comes with episode of Bardock. You can watch it right from the start. You do need a Kinect to even get through the menu to watch episode of Bardock, so you kind of have that terrible stipulation in there. We've been talking about the game bits and pieces. I don't know that there's anything else for me to say about it. The game is not worth $40. It's going to be $25 in Black Friday sales, a lot of Kinect stuff. Is it worth it, $25? I don't know. Episode of Bardock for $25, legit release, subtitled. You're getting there, but because you have to own a Kinect on top of the 360 to even watch it, that's kind of tough to recommend. It's cute. It is what it is. It does not work well. Some of the basic motions work well, but trying to do anything, like I said in my review, I could not get cupping my hands to do the Kamehameha. Yes, that's right. I've had a couple beers tonight. I don't know what's going on.
That's okay.
For that to even recognize the motions. And if the signature attack of the series is not being recognized properly, you got some problems.
You know, I gotta say too, at first when I heard about this game, because the Kinect to me is just this thing for people that don't really understand video games, but they want to get into it, and it's just a mainstream thing that's kind of out of my range of giving a shit. But I'm like, okay, you know, Dragon Ball Z could be, you know, funnily adapted for that. I could see people digging it.
Absolutely.
It'd be cute.
Yes.
Yeah. But then I wasn't aware until you guys pointed out that it is literally Ultimate Tenkaichi.
Yes.
Beginning to end with no multiplayer, which I guess is understandable, but it's like, oh, well, shit. Okay,
yeah, but maybe you could do online multiplayer. But the way that the game works is you have to have very deliberate motions for it to work. And trying to get in close and away from your opponent doesn't really work well. So you think about that, it's like, it's kind of got to be single player.
And even from just like the extra incentive perspective, like with episode of Bardock, when I heard about that, I'm like, oh, okay, that's kind of a good idea, because that's a neat way of integrating that into, you know, something that's going to be released over here.
Oh yeah, they do nothing with it in the game. You can't even play Super Saiyan Bardock without a QR code. He's not unlockable by playing the game.
Yeah, and the fact that like they did, I mean, I don't pretend to know how easy or difficult it is to work in 3D video games, because I've only worked on 2D ones before, but like I would imagine that making a 3D model for Super Saiyan Bardock was not difficult, and they didn't even give enough of a shit to be like, oh, we'll make one for Chilled, you know, just why not?
Yeah. I mean, they were teasing it's going to be a never before seen character, and the optimistic folks are like, oh, it's going to be Chilled, and the realistic folks are like, it's going to be Bardock with gold hair. And guess what it was?
I mean, like, cause yeah, if maybe I would have been a little less agitated if they at least threw Chilled in there.
Yeah, like you watch episode of Bardock and then you play the fight. That would at least be something. There's not even that.
Just ridiculous. I don't know. And the fact that this is our core game title.
It's your big game this year, man.
Like, that is really, really pathetic.
It is.
Like, honest to God. And actually, slightly off tangent, but like, you know, I was even kind of down Sega's ass at first about like, here's your big Sonic game for the year. It's like, you know, All-Star Racing transformed, like, and not like a real Sonic game, but it's actually good because they put like full time and effort into making it like genuinely as good as possible and not just like a bullshit spin-off game.
So,
with this,
dude, you not only have the Sonic cycle, you've got the Dragon Ball cycle.
No, the Sonic cycle's breaking. The Dragon Ball games are kind of getting into that now. Yeah, it's not pretty. I don't know. I hope that maybe with Zenkai Battle Royale, sorry, and Heroes in Japan, and then maybe I would like to imagine they would do a game that would be a movie tie-in for Battle of Gods. Maybe things will pick back up. I hope. I can overlook this little travesty with the Kinect game, but oh man,
dude, fool me once, fool me twice, fool me 3 times, fool me
20,000 times. You still buy them. You buy them anyway.
All right, so that's DBZ for Kinect. You can read the review. We've talked about it a bit. We were talking about the Budokai HD Collection earlier. I did finally start writing my review today, so that's going to be coming to the site soon. Just things have been busy. We've been working on content and all that jazz, but yeah, that's coming. So it's Budokai 1 and it's Budokai 3. You know the story here. They can't even really answer why Budokai 2 is not there. It's like, here, this is what you got. So the music's been completely replaced. Kenji Yamamoto, lols. We all know the story there. If you don't, that's the other big thing linked on the sidebar of Kanzenshuu right now. If you're even like ankle deep in Dragon Ball fandom, you know everything about this at this point. So all the music's replaced. It's 16:9. It looks pretty nice. Everything's running, I think, like 60 frames a second. It's gorgeous. But is it worth it? And my main thesis for my review, you've heard me talk about this and you're going to read it, is without the original score for these games are lesser products. And I'm struggling for a way. So you've got real Mike on the show right now, and you can totally take my words and throw them back against me. I don't care. It's okay. I've been doing this for a long time. I don't care what you have to say about me at this point. But I think a lot of younger fans who have a very, very fond memory and appreciation for the Budokai series are going to come to these games and the replaced score 10 years later. I think they're finally going to understand what it was like for us season 3, where it's, what's this music doing here?
I agree. Yeah. I mean, I'm assuming it's probably a lot of the same music that they did for like the Tenkaichi games when they
Dude, if I hear the fucking opening theme to Ultimate Tenkaichi one more time this year, I am going to lose my mind.
I've seriously, I've never heard any of like that new replacement music that was made by whoever mysterious person.
That's actually the good thing for me, because in the PS2 generation, after, you're going to read about this in the review as well, after Budokai 3 and then between when Sparking came out, I bought a Japanese PS2. I played the entire Sparking series in Japanese on my Japanese PS2, which meant I had the Kikuchi score in those games, which made them better products for me. So the replacement score, people talk about the Budokai Tenkaichi 2 replacement music as if it's God's gift to Dragon Ball music, and some of it's actually kind of okay that I am hearing now, but to me it's completely new music. I have never heard this music before.
Right, and I mean, I don't know if that's the same stuff that they used for like a lot of the games afterward, and like when the Yamamoto fiasco happened.
Raging Blast 2, the story we heard there is that after that all went down, Raging Blast 2 had its music silently replaced in later printings, and the Budokai Tenkaichi 2 score, replacement score, was thrown into that game. So now people are going to be hearing that kind of again for the third-ish time, maybe. So to me, it's basically all new music. And to other fans, maybe it's going to be, oh yeah, I remember it from this other game. But these games in particular, you throw Kenji Yamamoto together with Tower of Power, with Steve Lukather, with all these other amazing musical acts that came together. And again, I apologize if you later read this, but I was writing this today, so it's on my mind. It was kind of unprecedented, the amount of musical talent we got in Dragon Ball video games. I feel like we didn't even deserve the greatness that we got there. And now when it's not there, you realize, oh, that stuff was phenomenal. And I totally understand why that music had to be stripped away, because it's common knowledge now what Yamamoto did. But that was the experience. And without having that experience, it's no longer that experience.
It is insane how much the sound, not just the music, but like the entire sound of Dragon Ball is such a clusterfuck for everybody.
It's awful. It's totally awful. And it affects every country in the world now.
Crazy. So
that's that. And I mean, I talk about that because I really do feel like the audio presentation of those games just raised it to incredible heights. And otherwise, it's the same games that you remember. Budokai 3 still plays like a pretty fantastic game. By the time they got to that third iteration there, I mean, you have the sways in there with the dodges and the countering and the baseline key. Like, they had a pretty good fighting system for Budokai 3, and it still plays like a damn good game. And maybe that's what you want in 16:9, and it looks good up on the TV. And it's got, I actually don't know about some of the new lighting they have in the character models. I think it's a little too shiny, which is part of the problem I had with the Spike character models as the years went on. So I'm kind of iffy on that, but I still feel like Dimp's character models, they move wonderfully and realistically and fluidly, and I believe them. So it's tough. It's tough.
Maybe when we move on to the next real new installment of a Dragon Ball Z console game, we'll get some better models now that we're kind of moving into, like, you know, the Wii U is out and technology is advancing. I would hope that they would take some steps beyond the Ultimate Tenkaichi models.
You would hope, but so much of that has nothing to do with the technology and everything to do with the developers. And they can cram 150 characters into a game, but they can't make them move realistically.
Yeah,
that's Spike, and you guys have heard me talk about this literally since the first episode. I believe the first episode of this podcast, November 19th, 2005, we talked about Sparking. The first Sparking game on PlayStation 2.
That's right.
You've heard me specifically talking about this for 7 years at this point. So that's Budokai HD Collection. It kind of is what it is. It's those first and third games. Oh, and then, I mean, one other audio thing, but there was kind of confusion over whether Budokai 1 would it be bilingual this time around? Because the descriptions on all the various retailer sites were kind of misleading and confusing and conflicted with one another. The way that this worked was during the PS2 era, Europe got the original Japanese voices subtitled in their native language. We got an English dub. That made sense. We're in the modern era now. You can just throw the, both language tracks together like they did with Budokai 3 when they did the greatest hits version. Nope, it's the same branched production sort of thing as it was back then. Europe gets the original Japanese voices exclusively. We get the English voices exclusively. Although we do still get Rock the Dragon. Funny how, of all the things that could be stripped away from this, the one thing that remains is Rock the Dragon.
That is really... I still remember, like, putting that in my PS2 for the first time, and I was like, what's going on? This is really weird seeing this, because I knew what Head Chala. Yeah. I knew what Head Chala was by that point, and I'm just like, this is weird.
This doesn't match at all.
This is so bizarre.
And it's this awkward looping version of the song that, like, we have to make a hit this, 145, 2-minute mark?
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't work. So, guys, that's Budokai HD Collection. I feel like if you're going to buy it, you're already going to buy it at this point, a couple weeks later. Nothing's going to sway you one way or the other. You heard about the censorship. It is what it is. You heard about the music replacement. We can't do anything about it at this point. So it's really, how badly do you want to relive the fighting experience of those games? And in the case of the first game, maybe the story mode, but of course all the music's different in the story mode, and you have to go back to prior voice performances of a lot of these characters as well if you're playing the English version. So that's that game.
That's a game.
That's the thing. They're both $40. That kind of frightens me. I paid $80 for this stuff combined.
People, just don't do it, please. I'm begging you.
I do this for you, so you don't have to. You can just listen and be like, haha, look, Mike had to do all that. I just get to sit here and listen to him bitch about it.
He's suffering. He's suffering for all of you. Just don't buy the goddamn things. Speak with your wallet, or rather without it. Tell them you don't want this shit. Don't buy the Dragon Ball Z games this year, and then maybe next year they will wise up and do something that isn't a piece of shit.
And that's tough, because it's like, I'm kind of interested in an HD updated version of Budokai 3, but not this way. So,
no.
But I can't get the product I want specifically because of the music. So what do you do? It's like, no one wins here. Such is the life of a Dragon Ball fan in 2012.
Does that about cover that?
Yeah, I think so. I think we're actually going to wrap things up here. A lot of folks had thoughts about these games over on Facebook. I was thinking about reading them on the show, but it's just going to repeat exactly everything that we were just saying. And I don't want to kind of slam it in too far up your ass there. You had sent a voicemail to the show that I was considering playing on the show. But now you're here, and we kind of already talked about Kai and continuing and other countries being interested in continuing it.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Did we answer your question?
Well, that was the reason I recorded it. I don't know if you're going to use this. You can cut this out.
No, we're talking. Just keep going. I'm not.
Okay.
Edit.
No, that's fine. Well, basically, I had sent in an audio email after I listened to what you guys were talking about regarding Kai coming back with them doing the Boo Saga. Basically, my 2 cents was because as you guys had eloquently put my conversation with Chris Sabat from a convention 3 years ago as part of your intended endings guide.
You are immortalized.
Oh boy, yeah. And see, I'm going to make reference to that again, but I just want to say, first of all, I'm not using like anything I got out of like just a casual conversation with Sabat, who, by the way, is as big of a fan of Dragon Ball Z like as anybody that's ever been on this podcast, and
totally.
in the same way too. And I
we know that,
yeah. Basically, I brought up at the time, this was before Kai had even aired over here. This was before like Frieza got a new voice and a lot of stuff like that had changed. At the time I had heard about the possible 98 episode limit for Kai, and therefore was only going to go up to Cell. I brought that up to him, and his offhand reaction was, "Oh, well, that sucks. Well, maybe if it were possible, maybe we could like approach them about doing the rest of it ourselves."
And
then,
we talked about that. I mean, Funimation specifically moved into the realm of co-production. That was a possibility.
Yeah, and especially because the other big point after the fact now is that Kai did really, really well over here.
Mm-hmm. It's on 2 channels. That's crazy.
And even with like the music stuff and like there was a little bit of a lull between the end of the Frieza stuff and the Cell stuff, because I think that was when that was happening and when it was on TV.
Yeah. Yep.
There was a bit of some crap with that, but even that notwithstanding, like Kai was very successful over here, both for like a hardcore market, because for us we finally got like a quality dub as far as I'm concerned. And, and then just for like a mainstream perspective, it being on TV again and just it being put back into the limelight, it was huge. So, and I think it also does tie into the movie if it's going to be taking place after the Boo Saga's over. That definitely makes sense. My assumption is that when they say it's for overseas, I guess it would be because they maybe want to have it on TV over here and do a home release, which of course would be why they'd be recording it in Japanese, because as Mike and the others have pointed out on the show a while ago, anime fans are not going to buy a DVD if there's not a Japanese language track on it. So,
it's weird. Like, they won't buy it if it's dub only, but they also won't buy it if it's sub only.
Right, and because that's just kind of the way that the market is these days, and that makes sense. So I certainly can't fault anybody for that. But I think it's great that they're doing that. I had always been saying, even from the beginning, that like next to the Frieza fight, I think that the Majin Buu, like that entire chunk of the show, was what needed the Kai treatment the most.
It's 90 episodes, man.
Yeah, exactly. And if they could whittle that down to like 30 or 40 or what, I guess 50, because 50 was about as long as it took for them to do like Saiyan and Frieza, and then another 50 for androids and Cell and all that.
Yep.
Yeah, I think if they were able to do like another set of 50 for all of Buu, like that'd be fantastic. I would love that.
And it's not just us. I mean, we were talking about France just in this episode so many times. I mean, Kai is on TV in so many other countries, and a home release in so many other countries, and it's doing well in everywhere but Japan. Mm-hmm. So I'm pretty sure everyone wants it right now.
Absolutely. And I think the fact that Japan in general seems to be opening up much more to the fact that, anime's role in other countries, and especially in the US. I think that if they were doing this for Dragon Ball Z specifically, and specifically for us, then number one, that's a good sign for Toei's mentality on this whole thing.
Finally, they're smart.
Yeah, really. I do genuinely hope that we get it. I think it could be a great way of setting up the movie if we were going to be getting it as well, which I think we will be. And I guess from a personal standpoint, I would love to hear a new dub interpretation of all the Majin Buu stuff, which granted, like, I think that was all right in the original. I think that they did a pretty decent job at the time, but like just overall, I know that they could do a lot of stuff better. And, I know that like a lot of the actors that played some of those later characters were excited about doing that. And there was some sadness for when it stopped, but, I certainly hope it comes back. I would love to see it, and maybe I'll try and do some digging early next year, see if I can find some other things out about that in terms of if it is going to affect the U.S. So
I have no idea what the English dub was like at that point in the series. I mean, I was so checked out at that point.
Yeah, I don't blame you. All I can really say is that it continued pretty much to maintain the same level of quality. By the time they got to the end and they redid all the Cell stuff and everything, they did get Damien back for Cell. I wasn't sure if they were going to be able to do that, but he was even better than he was the first time around. Yeah, it was good, and it was just sad to see it end so abruptly, but
So that's Kai again. Why does it keep coming up? Stop it.
Because I'm going to say one thing on your show real quick about Kai.
You've said many things on my show.
I've said many things, but no, I'll say this much.
Yes.
Dragon Ball Kai has proven to me to be, in many, many ways, a very legitimately good way to get new people that missed the boat on Dragon Ball entirely when we were kids, into the show. I have proven that in firsthand experience. The Nicktoons ratings don't lie. So I think that even though I understand everybody's issues with it, especially more so on the Japanese side of things, I think that it's a good thing for the franchise, and that's one of the reasons why I'm really hoping that it'll continue over here. So
I would never say otherwise. I do not disagree with you.
Excellent. You as you well shouldn't.
All right, Chris Kirbopher, what else you want to toss out there? Remind people who you are. Why are you talking to me right now?
Well, I talk to Mike because I pester the ever-loving shit out of him on Twitter all the time.
No, you don't.
which you can follow me on at Kirbopher. It's spelled like Christopher, only Kirbier. And I guess if you want to see my cartoons, one of which that just came out has a very Dragon Ball Z-esque character in it, you can go to kirbopher.newgrounds.com or youtube.com/kirbopher15, or my show's Facebook page is facebook.com/tome series, blah, blah, blah. And sometimes I post on the Kanzenshuu forums and pipe in about when Mike doesn't understand that people are weirded out by the prospect of Bardock being voiced by a 60-year-old Japanese woman.
I think you're all crazy and wrong.
That's me, and I must say also it was a pleasure being on the show.
Thanks, man. We'll try to make it not 300 episodes next time.
Yes, definitely. And hopefully I'll see you at you and Mary and the folks at a con or something.
Yeah, we'll do a convention next year, maybe.
Definitely.
All right, man. Maybe. Thank you for joining me. Appreciate it.
No problem.
All right, so we got Chris over there. My name is Mike, VegettoEX. For all the folks that make this site and this podcast with me every day, every week, I was up early with Julian this morning doing news, late for him. I love time zones. It makes everything work out so well. This was episode, what are we doing? Like 314 here, the podcast? Yeah.
I believe so, yeah.
314. We will see you next week for a Thanksgiving post-Thanksgiving extravaganza. That's our plan next week, episode 315. Myself, Julian, very likely Heath as well. That is the plan right now. We have awesome content that we're tying into a podcast episode. There is the plan. You know how plans go at Casa de Kanzenshuu. So we'll see about that. So www.kanzenshuu.com is the central place, the one place, the only place that you ever effing need to learn about Dragon Ball news, information, anything. We are the place. We're so glad to have you with us. Kanzenshuu. We'll see you next week, folks. Chris, close it.
Oh wait, no, hold on. Can you give me like 2 seconds, because I do want to do something funny.
All right, all right.
You can just cut this out.
No, I'm not cutting it. No, we're stalling.
All right. Now I'm going to show how consummate of a professional I am as a voice actor.
All right. Here we go.
You've been listening to Kanzenshuu the podcast, your one-stop shop for everything you ever wanted to know about Dragon Ball Z. Oh, and also, VegettoEX is in the house.
I hate everything about it.